Good evening and welcome to the News at 7. In 12 hours' time, South Africans will be going to the polls in one of the most contested municipal elections since 1994. Service delivery has been at the forefront of campaigns. Today, President Jacob Zuma visited the IEC's Nerve Centre in Pretoria to check on the state of readiness. He also made a special visit to former President Nelson Mandela at his Houghton home. The president says he found the elder statesman in good health and in high spirits.
Madiba led from the front to cast his special vote yesterday, paving the way forward for the almost 24 million South Africans registered to vote. Today, he had lunch with a special guest.
And he really shouted as I walked into the door, "Oh, Ngamalala!" And I realized he's really in his good mood. My intention, as I always do, was to come and report to him how the campaign has gone.
Earlier, President Zuma toured the IEC's Results Centre in Pretoria and expressed satisfaction with its progress and state of readiness.
You can see it with the manner in which everything has been positioned here, as well as the advanced technological readiness. We are very happy. We think the country is ready.
He congratulated all parties for their political tolerance during the campaign.
There has been far less tension or violence during the campaigning. I think for the first time, no party has complained that there's a party that will not go to. So there are no longer no-go areas.
President Zuma will cast his vote at his home village, Nkandla, in KwaZulu-Natal. Most political conflicts elsewhere in Africa have been sparked by the questionable credibility and the weaknesses of institutions that adjudicate elections. And so at the core of the IEC's readiness for these elections lies a confidence-inducing story of an institution that is maturing in sustaining South Africa's young democracy. Tommy Dixon, SABC News, at the IEC Centre in Pretoria.
Politicians used the day to try and win over undecided voters. The ANC sent its heavyweights to the Western Cape while the DA focused on Nelson Mandela Bay.
Last night, the ANC manifesto was endorsed by a host of prominent South Africans. From musicians to traditional leaders, they came in numbers to back the ruling party.
Let's tell everybody to vote ANC for the many reasons you all expressed here. And after that, let's regroup in the communities. Let's talk to each other about what more we need to do.
It was off to an early start for ANC Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe. He was out and about before the crack of dawn, wooing commuters at Cape Town Station. Then he headed to Atlantis on the West Coast for door-to-door visits. After listening to people's problems, he made a promise to the youth.
I met one gentleman who has got a rugby team for youngsters here, and he said to me he's struggling, he doesn't have a kit for them, they've got to pay to use the sports facility here, and I took his details. I will speak to the Minister of Sports because the Minister of Sports is very keen to introduce school sports.
Other ANC heavyweights who focused on the Cape vote included NEC members Lindiwe Sisulu and Lulu Xingwana. Sisulu tried to convince undecided voters to go out and dislodge the DA from Cape Town and other municipalities in the region. Xingwana was in Site B in Khayelitsha. She met a disabled couple who live with their 11-year-old son. The family has no access to any services.
We will have to ask the Minister for Human Settlement, Minister Tokyo Sekhwale, to intervene in the Western Cape because our people are not getting services.
Helen Ziller started her final push for votes in Port Elizabeth. The DA believes the Nelson Mandela Metro is within its grasp, so every vote counts.
We've travelled many kilometres with this bus, and everywhere people have rushed out of their houses in all communities all over the place to greet us and to wave and to welcome us. So it's been really unbelievable.
Later in the day, the DA bus was winding its way through Mitchell's Plain on the Cape Flats. Mayoral candidate Patricia de Lille says the DA is certain of an outright victory in the city of Cape Town.
we are going for an outright majority win in Cape Town tomorrow.
In Ladysmith, IFP and ANC supporters drove through the town in convoys, urging people to support their respective parties. Both have a strong base in the hotly contested Utukela district municipality. It's currently in the hands of the IFP.
We are sending a clear message that the IFP is there and is going to be there even tomorrow.
The IFP wrapped up its campaign with Mangosuthu Buthelezi addressing a rally at its stronghold of Ulundi.
While millions of voters in urban areas are preparing to go to the polls tomorrow for their counterparts in rural areas, the IEC, the situation is a little more complex.
It's all systems go at most voting stations, but here in Lephalale, the IEC is having problems with farmers, voters and even a tribal authority. The IEC was given the go-ahead to use farm facilities as voting stations, but later some farmers changed their minds, forcing the IEC to resort to tents. Some workers also complained that they were not given time off to register.
We start at 7 and we finish at 5. We were not given time off to register.
They can't put a police station this side because the chieftaincy doesn't want any police station in this side.
The IEC says a memorandum of understanding was signed with farm workers' unions and agriculture bodies.
We signed a memorandum of understanding in which we're all undertaking to ensure that farm workers will be given the opportunity to go and cast their votes on the 18th, that even our own officials will be given access to farming areas. And the memorandum of understanding was signed by us, by Agri-SA, even by the Transvaal Agricultural Union, who in the past had refused to sign that MOU.
COSATU has meanwhile called on the IEC to set up a hotline for people to call if they are prevented from voting.
The employer, any employer that is refusing to create a possibility for everyone to exercise the right to vote will be simply breaking the law. And any worker who is caught up in that situation must go and lay criminal charges against the employer who will not let them go and vote.
International and African election observers say they are impressed with the IEC's election preparations. Often observers are sent to countries where disputes are highly likely, but these ones are here to learn. They say South Africa continues to be a shining example for how democratic elections should be conducted. They hope to take some valuable lessons back to their country. SABC board chairperson Dr. Ben Ngubane has given the assurance that the public broadcaster is more than ready to cover tomorrow's poll. He was addressing staff at the IEC National Results Centre in Pretoria.
Continuous and comprehensive election coverage, bringing the election to South Africans as it happens. Dr. Ben Ngubane addressed SABC staff stationed at the centre, and he gave the thumbs up for the operation.
It is here that the expression of our democratic process is going to come out. People will know that we voted, and the people will feel that the votes were counted properly and reported properly, that they will have faith in the democratic process in our constitution, in our government and in our country.
Dr. Ngubane says the SABC also played a crucial role during the build-up to the election. He also addressed all regional SABC staff members who have been deployed in the provincial offices. The corporation has deployed over 1,000 employees to cover the elections. Top-of-the-range equipment will be utilized to bring the news even from the most remote areas of the country. SABC television news, outside broadcast units and 14 radio stations are broadcasting live from the IEC Centre. Yulisa Njamela, SABC News, Pretoria.
The IEC concluded its second day of special votes, having visited over 160,000 homes across the country. The elderly, sick and physically disabled are among those who qualify.
Struggle stalwart Albertina Sisulu was among the first to make her mark today. She cast her ballot at her Linden home in Johannesburg.
Mama has voted today, Madiba has voted yesterday, and we are saying to all South Africans, come out. Let's go and vote. Our elders have shown the way.
Officials also knocked on doors in Ga-Rankuwa to ensure the elderly and visually impaired made their cross. 78-year-old Emily Mankwazi is one of 1,600 people in Mokaka who applied for a special vote. She hopes this will help her children find employment at last. Also making house calls were Home Affairs officials, delivering uncollected identity documents in the Northern Cape. Around 2,700 identity books were hastily flown in from Pretoria to the delight of recipients. Struggle stalwart Albertina Sisulu was among the...
Coming up, unhappy residents take their grievances to the